Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, guys. My name is Liaquat. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, enjoying yourselves. This is Mukhtasar al-Qudoori. Those of you guys who are not familiar with this is basically explaining Islamic law according to the Hanafi school of thought. So this is a very well-known book. It's taught in almost all the madrasas and Islamic universities of the Hanafi school. Right, so we have reached up to Bab Kafala and now we are in this lesson. Right, so let me know what you guys think of these lessons, if you guys enjoy them, if you guys benefit from them, and how do you benefit from them. وَإِذَا قَالَ, so تَكَفَّلْتُ, it means to become a guarantor for something. We've done this before. قَامَت, it means stood. Okay, stood. Alf is 1,000. ضَمِنَ, to guarantee. Kafil is the guarantor. قَامَ يَقُوم تَقُوم. And then you have miqdar, amount. يعترف is to confess or to agree or admit. فإن اعترف المكفول عنه, the person for whom the guaranteeing is being done. يصدق is to believe. Kafil is the person who's guaranteeing, guarantor. بغير أمره, without his consent. يؤدي, to means to pay. And then in kafala, right, to give, to guarantee. Lam yarji', to return. Yu'addi, to pay. A lot of these words are basic words which I'm sure you guys know. Do you guys think I should stop going through these words? Laysa al-kafil an talaba yutalibu, it means to demand. Right, so demand. Makful anhu, the person for whom the guaranteeing was being done. And then you've got khallasa yukhallisu, right, it means to free. Okay, to free. وَإِذَا أَبْرَأَ الطَّالِبُ, so أَبْرَأَ الطَّالِبُ, so طالب is student. أَبْرَأَ means to exonerate. Right, so exonerate, I'll put X there. أَنْهُ إِسْتَوْفَى يَسْتَوْفِي إِسْتِيفَاء, it means to fulfill. Okay, so to fulfill. بَرِئَ, it means to become exonerated. بَرِئَ يَبْرَأُ الْكَفِيلُ. وَإِنْ أَبْرَأَ الْكَفِيلَ, right, so the kafil is the guarantor. لم يبرأ المكفول ولا يجوز تعليق, it means to condition, attach a condition. علق يعلق تعليق. البراءة, so to exoneration. بشرط, condition. استيفاء, fulfillment. And hudud is divine penalties, and qisas is retribution. Right, so that's basically what you have over here with regards to the meanings of the words. Now let's have a look at the tarkeeb of this now. So إذا قال تكفلت في الفعل بما لك عليه, so بما لك عليه, so be jar and then ma is going to موصول, لك عليه is going to be لك and عليه jar مجرور as well. قامت البينة في الفاعل بألف جار مجرور عليه ضامناه الكفيل, becomes the فاعل. فإن لم تقم البينة في الفاعل فالقول مبتدأ قول الكفيل مع يمينه في مقدار ما يعترف به. فإن اعترف المكفول عنه بأكثر, right, so this is أكثر meaning more. من ذلك لم يصدق مجهول. صدق يصدق means to believe. على كفيله وتجوز الكفالة بأمر المكفول أو بغير أمره. فإن كفل بأمره راجع بما يؤدي عليه. وإن كفل بغير أمره لم يرجع بما يؤديه, so again في الفاعل بما جار مجرور يؤديه. وليس للكفيل أن يطالب, all of this is going to be the ism of ليس. Okay, أن يطالب المكفول عنه بالمال قبل مضاف, and it's a ظرف. أن يؤدي عنه. فإن لوزم, okay, so لوزم مجهول بالمال لازم يلازم لازمة فعل مجهول. كان له أن يلازم المكفول عنه حتى حرف جر يخلصه. وإذا, okay, so إذا أبرأ الطالب المكفول عنه فاعل and then مفعول به. أو استوفى الفاعل استوفى منه برئ الكفيل, right, so في الفاعل. وإن أبرأ الكفيلة, that's مفعول به. لم يبرأ المكفول عنه ولا يجوز تعليق مضاف مضاف إليه. Right, so that becomes the fa'il of يجوز بالكفالة بشرط. Right, next sentence وكل حق لا يمكن استيفاؤه في الفاعل من الكفيل لا تصح الكفالة به كالحدود والقصاص. Alright, so that's basically the tarkib part of it done. Now let's have a look at the masal. Let me know if you guys enjoy the tarkib, if you guys find it useful, and tell me how you find it useful. Like, in what way is it considered to be useful to you guys? So this first masala is, this is the kafil, or yeah, let's call this guy the makful anhu. Right, the guy for whom the kafala is being done. And then you have the kafil. Right, so let's get the kafil in a different color. Right, this is the kafil, Mr. Kafil. Right, makful anhu. Right, and then you have the makful lahu. Right, the guy for whom the kafala is being done. Right, so you call him the makful lahu. So let's draw him over here. Or you can also call him the talib. Let's call him a talib, the demander, the one who's demanding. So if the kafil was to say, right, to the makful, he was to say to him, I will pay whatever, right, whatever you have to give, I will pay that. So now when he went to court, when he goes to court, the makful anhu, he provides proof. Right, he provides proof that he owes 1,000. Now the kafil has to obviously pay that. Right, so he has promised that he will pay this. So in court now his promise is going to be taken seriously. So he's going to have to pay 1,000. What if, on the other hand, he does not have proof? So this is scenario number one. Scenario number two, no proof. So you've got no proof to prove how much he owes. So in this case, what's going to happen is the judge is going to now ask the kafil, how much do you owe? So the kafil will say, let's say for example, he says, the makful anhu owes 800. All right, 800. So his statement now, with an oath, wallahi, by Allah, wallahi, and so the judge will now take what he says, and his statement will be taken. Yeah. Now, if the makful anhu, after hearing this, he says, so the makful anhu says after this, he says, no, it's actually 1,000. Right, so if he confesses to 1,000, so that means that's basically 200 above the 800 that the kafil had mentioned. Remember, he had said 200, 800. So that means that he has basically mentioned 800 plus 200. Right, 800 plus 200. So in this case, the judge will not accept this extra 200. He will not be believed in court. And that's it basically. So let's have a look at. So he says, وَإِذَا قَالَ, when the kafil says, right, so when the kafil, this is the kafil, he says, whatever, takafaltu, I have guaranteed whatever is for you. So he's saying, remember, he's saying this to the talib. Right, he's saying this to the talib, whatever is for you upon the makful anhu. فَقَامَتِ الْبَيِّنَةُ بِأَلْفٍ عَلَيْهِ. Right, so now proof has been provided that the makful anhu owed 1,000. Who provided this proof? So let's say the talib provided this proof, right? The talib provides the proof. He says you owe 1,000. ضَمِنَ الْكَفِيل. So now the kafil must now pay 1,000. Yeah. فَإِن لَمْ تَقُمْ. If, however, there is no bayyina, right? So there's no proof at all. No proof at all. فَالْقَوْلُ قَوْلُ الْكَفِيل. Then the statement now will be the statement of the kafil. Let's say he says 800. مع يمينه, with his oath. في مقدار, in the quantity, amount, ما يعترف به, that he admitted to. فإن اعترف المكفول عنه. If the makful anhu was to say, no, it's actually more than this. بأكثر من ذلك لم يصدق على كفيله. This amount will not be accepted in court. It's extra amount upon the kafil. Kafil will only have to give the 800 that he admitted to. Does that make sense? So let me just say it all again. So kafil, he has promised the talib that he will give whatever the makful anhu owes him. Proof was provided by the talib that he owes 1,000. So now he's got to give 1,000. No proof was provided by the talib. So what happens is the judge is going to ask the kafil, how much do you say is? And if he says 800, 800 will be taken from him as long as he swears an oath. Now if the makful anhu steps in and says, no, actually it's more than 800, it's 1,000, 200 plus. So the judge will not accept this extra upon the kafil because there's no proof for it. It's just a i'tiraf for this. Okay, that's basically this masala then. Let's move on to the next masala. Alright, so next masala is this. So the makful anhu. So let's say, for instance, this is the makful anhu. Okay, so makful anhu. He's the guy that owes the money, right? And this is the kafil. Okay, kafil. And this is the makful lahu, right? Oh, it's supposed to be red, isn't it? I do apologize. Okay, makful lahu. So what happens over here is if the kafil, let's say for example the makful says he owes £2,000, and either the makful lahu is going to give the £2,000 with the kafil's permission or without. If he gives it with the permission, he's allowed to get the money reimbursed. He can get the money from the makful anhu. And if he's without his permission, then he can't, because why did he go and pay the money for? He did it without the makful anhu's permission, so therefore he is not considered to be responsible for that. Does that make sense? So tajuzul kafala is permissible bi amr al makful anhu, with a consent, permission of the makful anhu, or bi ghayri amrihi, or even without. For in kafala, if the kafil was to do kafala bi amrihi, with the permission of the makful anhu, raja'a bima yuaddi alayhi, he can take back, he can get himself reimbursed for whatever he gave. Wa in kafala bi ghayri amrihi, however, if he gave it without his permission, lam yarji, he can't take anything back. Bima yuaddihi, it's basically if you volunteer to give something without the other person's permission, although you've done a very good thing, legally you can't get your money reimbursed. That's what we're talking about, legally. Now of course, obviously the other guy should have enough good character that he's gonna pay you for what you paid, but legally you can't take him to court, basically. That's what it means. Alright, next mas'ala then. Let's do the next one. Alright, so the next mas'ala is to do with so let's say for example this is the talib, right? So this is the demander, Mr. Talib. This is the kafil. Okay, this is the kafil, and this is going to be the makful. It's going to be makful lahu. So now the talib over here, right? He is obviously going to be given 1,000, isn't he? And who's going to give it? The kafil is going to give it. Right, now what happens is this kafil cannot, remember all of this is done with the makful anhu's permission. The kafil does not have the right to ask the makful for money before he's paid it. So let's say, for example, let's say the payment, so he's done the kafala, he's promised the kafala on Monday, right? And he's going to pay on Friday, right? So pay, let's put a bag of money there, let's pay on Friday. So before Friday, right? So before Friday, from here all the way up to here, the kafil is not allowed to ask the makful anhu for the £1,000 until he pays it. Once he's paid it on Friday, after this, now he is allowed to ask for the money. Right? So over here, he can ask for the money over here. Right? So he's allowed to ask for the money after he has paid it, in this case on Friday. But before this, he does not have the right because he himself has not given that money. So what is he asking for? That's the whole point. So laysa lil kafil, it's not permissible for the kafil an yutaliba, to demand from the makful anhu bil mali, the money. Right? He can't ask for the money qabla an yuaddiyahu anhu, prior to him giving the money. And now it's Friday. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, next one. Okay, so next one is, let's say, for example, again, I wish I just copy and pasted this, isn't it? Would have been so easy for me instead of having to keep on. Now, this is the benefit, guys, of teaching using these kind of techniques and technology. Right? You can easily just delete things, edit things. And all right, so this is the kafil. That's the makful anhu, and this is the talib. Right? The makful lahu. We call him talib. The talib, the one who's demanding. So let's say, for example, like the kafil has promised to pay 1,000. All right, and you know it's the week. On Monday he promised that he's going to pay. Monday's promised. So the talib can keep on demanding it from him. You call this luzum, mulazama. Right? So luzum or mulazama, he can stick to him every single day. Right? So he can stick to him here. Where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? So he can keep on asking him, where's my money? So just as the talib can ask for this, likewise, the kafil can stick to the makful anhu, right? Now, if the kafil does not have the money to pay, if he has the money to pay, then obviously he has to pay it. And then once he's paid it, he gets the money back from the makful. But remember we said before, he's not allowed to demand the money from the makful. So what he does is, if he does not have the money, he can go to the makful and tell him, look, the talib keeps on asking me, I don't have the money to pay, you pay him. Right? So this is called luzima lazama. Right? So if the kafil is being demanded by the talib, give me the money, give me the money, give me the money, and the kafil does not have the money, he can demand from the makful anhu to go and sort it out with the talib. Right? So that's what his right is. But he can't ask for the money for himself. He can't say to the makful anhu, give me the money. Does that make sense? Right, so this is a bit of a tricky one over here. Usually students get this one a bit confused. فَإِن لُوزِمَ بِالْمَالِ كَانَ لَهُ. If the kafil has now, the money has now become lazim upon him, meaning the talib is demanding, right? So the demand has come upon him of the mal. كَانَ لَهُ, he has the right and yulazima to go and demand from the makful anhu. So the word lazima actually means to stick to someone. So you can keep on pestering them until they pay off. Because remember, the kafil, if he does not have the money, what can he do? حَتَّى يُخَلِّصَهُ, until the makful anhu pays him off and frees him from this responsibility. Okay, next masla now. Let's do the next one. Let's see if there's enough space. This is the problem with this. All right, so let's say, for instance, let's say the talib has now gone and he has actually exonerated. If the talib now goes and he exonerates, right? So abra'a, call this abra'a. If he has exonerated the makful anhu, automatically the kafil now becomes exonerated. Yeah. So because the whole point was that the makful anhu owes him money. If the talib now says, you know what, you don't owe me anything, forget it. Now the kafil goes free now. All right. But if the talib was now to go and free the kafil, said to the kafil, you don't have to pay me anything. So legally now he has come out of his contract, his agreement. But the makful anhu still owes him. Does that make sense? So this one is if the abra'a is the kafil, and this one is if it's the makful. Make sense? All right, so let's have a look at this then. So he says, وَإِذَا أَبْرَأَ الطَّالِبُ, when the when the talib, the one demanding, he has exonerated the makful anhu, like in this case, or istawfa, or he has received his full pay. Let's say the makful anhu paid him off. Bari al-kafilu, the kafil automatically becomes free. وَإِنْ أَبْرَأَ الْكَفِيلَ, and if the talib was to free the kafil, لَمْ يَبْرَأَ الْمَكْفُولَ عَنْهُ. The other way around, he does not become free because he has only removed the kafil from the legal obligation. That's all he's done. The money is still owed by the makful anhu. All right, finally the last one. Oh, not last one. penultimate one. Right, so now you can't do something called ta'liq. Right, so ta'liq al-bara'a, you cannot do that. So ta'liq al-bara'a basically is like let's say the what's his name? The talib. He says, I will exonerate you, yeah, if such and such a thing happens. I will exonerate you from the kafala. Right, so this is the kafil. And he says, I will exonerate you if such and such happens. So this is called conditioning the bara'a, conditioning the exoneration. So conditioning exoneration in Hanafi fiqh is not allowed, because conditioning something to become like if I say to you, you become the owner of this if it rains tomorrow. So this kind of conditioning transfer of ownership, this is something the Hanafis say it's not good. It's not a good thing, because it resembles gambling in a way, right? So you're putting the money at risk of either getting it or not getting it or losing it. So this is why he says, وَلَا يَجُوزُ, it's not permissible, تَعْلِيقُ الْبَرَاءَةِ, to attach the bara'a, right? So to condition exoneration from kafala, بِشَرْطٍ, with a specific condition. Right? And this is the position of majority of Hanafis. Some Hanafis say this, in this case it's allowed, it's not gambling. Right? But like I said to you, the other Hanafis say, because if this guy, the talib, is saying to the kafil, if it rains tomorrow, you are free of the kafala. So this is like a random event. The conditioning of this is, we don't know if it's going to rain tomorrow, if it's not going to rain tomorrow. And so this is a bit like, almost like gambling, you can say. So he's gambling the transferring of ownership, because when he makes him free of this, it's like him, relieving himself of that particular transfer of ownership. And finally, the last one then. So, kullu haqqin, every single right, la yumkin istifa'uhu, which cannot be fulfilled by the kafil, then la tasihul kafala, you're not allowed to do kafala with it. So, for instance, like let's say there is a person who has committed murder. And because he's committed murder, he now is going to be given the death sentence. Right, he's going to be given death sentence. Now the kafil cannot step in and here and say, please give me the death sentence. Right, you can't have a kafil, because the kafil himself cannot take this penalty without committing the crime. So you cannot transfer such a penalty onto someone else. Transferring of penalties onto someone else is not allowed. So therefore, kafala of this is not allowed. And what kind of things is it not allowed in? It's not allowed in hudud. Remember that we talked about this before. The 5 penalties, right? The 5 penalties, and the qisas. Qisas is retribution. If you injure someone, kill someone, right? So if this was allowed, then the rich people would get away with committing crimes. They simply tell someone else, you take the penalty for me, right? So this is not allowed over here. And khalas, that's it, guys. So let's have a look at this then. Let's see what you guys have understood from this. Okay, so first question. If a guy says to someone else that I have done kafala of whatever you're owed by so-and-so, is that valid? Yes, it's valid. Okay, and why is that? Because remember we said before, you can do kafala of something which is unknown. Okay, number 2, if the talib provides proof that the amount that he is owed is £1,000, how much does the kafil have to give? He has to give £1,000. All right, that's also understandable. What if there is no evidence on the talib side? Then what happens is the judge will ask the kafil, swear an oath and tell us how much you're going to pay. So he swears an oath and he says, for example, I'm going to pay £800. Now, if the makful anhu after that was to add £200 extra and said, actually, it's £1,000, what will happen after that? So will it be added to the kafil's amount? So the answer is no. It will not be added to the kafil's amount. Okay. Next. Can kafala be done without the makful anhu's permission? Yes, it can be. But if a person was to pay without the makful anhu's permission, legally, can he get a reimbursement from the makful anhu, the kafil? Can he get a reimbursement? Answer, no, he can't. Why is that? Because he has done it voluntarily, and anyone who does something voluntarily, legally, there's no real way of getting reimbursement for that. Okay. Now, when can the kafil ask the makful anhu back for his money? He can only ask when he's paid it off. He can't ask before that. Okay, next one. If the talib is demanding the money from the kafil, what rights does the kafil have? So he either pays the money, and if he can't pay it, then he can get the makful anhu to pay it for him. Okay, if the talib was to forgive or pardon or exonerate the makful anhu, the money, what happens to the status of the kafil? Status of the kafil ends. And if he was to do the same with the kafil, what would happen to the makful anhu? It would not end. Kafala would end, but the money owed by the makful anhu would not end. Okay, and what about if a person was to do what we call ta'liq al-bara'? What is ta'liq al-bara'? Ta'liq al-bara' is that a person, he exonerates someone else with a condition of something happening in the future. Right, a bit like gambling. So we say this is not allowed. And can a person do kafala of something like penal code penalties and killing retribution? Can he do kafala of that? No, why not? Because a person cannot do these things himself, therefore he can't do kafala of these things. Khalas guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that lesson. Let me know what you guys think of these lessons. If there's any questions or anything that you have, please let me know. Sometimes what happens is you guys ask questions maybe like 8 months later, a year later, and I can't remember exactly what. So if you have a particular question, what you can do is you can timestamp it, tell me exactly what time I said something, and then you can ask about that, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you to all my patrons who support my channel on a monthly basis. It means a lot to me. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless these guys, make special dua for them. If anyone else wants to become a patron, support my channel, please consider it. It means a lot to me because it helps the channel grow. And I'm trying to make these videos so people free of charge can watch all of these sciences that I'm working on, inshallah, and become a sadaqah jariyah as well. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.